Welcome to West Lafayette, Indiana, getting set for Purdue against the Minnesota Golden Gophers as they get set to play their first Big Ten games of the season. Welcome aboard, everybody. Alongside Rod Gilmore, I'm Mark Kestisher. Quint Kesnick will join us in just a moment. You got to be on the Boiler Special.
Absolutely.
When you're at West Lafayette. Minnesota, let's start with them. 3-0 for the fourth consecutive season. But the way they started 3-0, I mean, they were the cardiac kids the first month of the year.
Absolutely. They have had the closest games imaginable in 3 games. You think about 3 wins by less than 7 points. And if you think about the first win, South Dakota State, how about a rushing touchdown late to get that one? And then Fresno State, how about Antoine Whitfield Jr. getting a pick in overtime in the end zone to end that one? And then Georgia Southern, Tyler Johnson comes up with a game-winning touchdown catch. 3-0, that's the kind of magic they've had this season.
So Minnesota's been able to win those games. Purdue, it's been a little rockier start at 1-2 coming into today's ball game. The good news is Elijah Sindelar got off to a great start the first 2 games of the season, expected back from his concussion today. And of his weaponry, Rondale Moore, one of the most versatile players in the country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is big time, and I could make a pretty good case that he's the most exciting player in college football. I think I heard Reggie Bush say that one time, but it's true. He catches the ball, great moves, and he got off to a great start this year. 24 catches in the first 2 games, and then TCU shut him down. Only 3 catches. They only targeted him 5 times. We expect him to have a big game today, and in fact, Purdue needs for him to have a big game.
Well, it's almost time for kickoff. We got to get up to the booth, so stand by. Purdue and Minnesota coming up from West Lafayette. For the Purdue Boilermakers, good news, Rod. Elijah Sindelar dealt with a concussion, had a little bit of a setback about 10 days ago. He's ready to go today, and they've needed him.
Well, Sindelar was playing lights out the first couple weeks of the season before the concussion. In fact, he was threatening records of Drew Brees, so that tells you how great he's been playing. The question is, how's his timing, and can he handle contact? He's been off for 2 weeks. This will be his first live action, so nobody really knows how long it will take him to get back into the flow.
Meanwhile, on the other side, the quarterback for Minnesota is Tanner Morgan, 6 touchdown passes, and Quint Kesnick, he is behind a mammoth offensive line.
Just gigantic. This Golden Gopher group weighs 1,700 pounds they bring to the line of scrimmage. That ranks top 5 in college football in terms of height and weight. It's actually bigger than the Minnesota Vikings. They're anchored by a right tackle, Daniel Fahalele. He is from Melbourne, Australia. He is 6'9", 400 pounds. That's the largest human, I believe, playing football at any level. That's the good news. The bad news is they've kind of underachieved this year. They're only averaging 2.6 yards per rush. Their quarterback's been sacked 11 times. In this game, though, they have a size advantage against Purdue's Smurfy defensive tackles.
Well, Quint Kesnick, when he stands next to Daniel Fa'alele, he might disappear at times.
You know, he looked like that character from the Game of Thrones, the Mountain Man.
You're right.
He's huge.
Well, Q mentioned the fact they've only got 2.6 yards per rush this season, but they have done well against Purdue historically and gouged them last year.
Yeah, 265 yards on the ground last year against Purdue with that big offensive line.
Purdue won the toss. They defer to the second half. Minnesota will receive. The kick will sail out the back of the end zone, and we will get the Golden Gophers here from the 25-yard line. Tanner Morgan's an interesting study, a guy who has been able to help engineer all these great comebacks early on with a lot of help around him.
Well, I don't know or care about the numbers, but he's been clutch. He's made game-winning throws late in the game. He's made terrific throws on 3rd down. In fact, he's only behind Jalen Hurts, in quarterback play on 3rd down efficiency. So this guy has been clutch for Minnesota. He's a key reason why they are 3-0. And the thing they want to do today is get the rushing game going to take a little pressure off of him.
Yeah, they got a bunch of running backs that are healthy today. Rodney Smith, who's in the backfield right now, is one of them. And Morgan to pass on 1st down. Good pocket over the middle. It is caught by Rashad Bateman. And he's taken down at the 43-yard line. Watch for number 6 and watch for number 13.
Yeah, but it starts up front, and you think about number 78. Quint told you about him. He's over here on the right side. Now watch him in pass protection. Pretty good use of his hands. Well, maybe a little bit, but he runs him right out of there. That's 400 pounds you're moving, so your feet really have to get moving.
Bateman, a 17-yard pickup on 1st down. He goes over 1,000 yards for his brief career, just a sophomore from Georgia. Rodney Smith in the backfield, and now Tanner Morgan will look to the side. Late in the clock now with 6 seconds to go. Has his guy set. Smith on the run, trying to find the edge. He'll pick up 3, and it'll be 2nd down and 12 for Rodney Smith, a 5th-year senior from Georgia.
Yeah, we were talking about Morgan and his being so clutch. You know, P.J. Fleck has a lot of trust in him. I mean, he's a guy that he recruited when he was at Western Michigan, and he followed him over here. So there's a long history with them.
Well, it's a great story, right? Because he, as in Tanner Morgan, in high school, took over a 1-11 team, turned him into a 13-1, just like that man at Western Michigan, P.J. Fleck, who also had a 1-11 team and turned them around before coming to Minnesota. 2nd and 12. Pass play. Bateman has it to plus territory out at the 42-yard line. That's a 1st down.
This is the 3rd year for P.J. Fleck after all his success at Western Michigan. And I really think he's ahead of schedule here. People forget when he came in his first year, he had 4 offensive linemen. They had 26 players leave the team. They had off-field issues going on, and he had to clean all that up. And here he has his team at 3-0, you know, in year 3.
You know, their win over Purdue last year, you could look at it as maybe a turning point now in his 3rd year as Morgan looks to throw open. Tight end Paulson's got it inside the 20. Jake Paulson, 1st down in the red zone. Graham got the tackle.
Yeah, simple tight end release up the seam, and he doesn't get held or bumped or anything. There he is, right behind the linebackers, in that area between the linebackers and in front of the safeties. And what a nicely thrown ball by Morgan. You just see his confidence growing each week.
It's a 24-yard gain. They mark it at the 18-yard line. Just to finish my thought, Rod, on P.J. Fleck, they beat Purdue 41-10 last year up in Minneapolis, and since then they've won 5 in a row. The big win over Wisconsin.
Yep.
To grab Paul Bunyan's axe, and then their bowl victory as well in the 3-0 start this year. RPO give. Rodney Smith spinning to the 11-yard line. Navon Mosley a tackle after the gain of 7.
Yeah, just inside running Q.
Yeah, the inside zone play. That's their bread and butter. And if they get that going, look out, because this year it just hasn't looked the same as it did a year ago late in the season, the last 4 or 5 games, as you guys just referenced, where this big offensive line started crashing down, winning the line of scrimmage, cutback lanes opened up.
Well, if you're Minnesota, you just run right at him right now, don't you?
Kirk Shiraka, the offensive coordinator, mentioned he wants to see a little dent on that offensive line. And Smith bumps off the line, gets out to the edge, and is forced out at about the 6-yard line.
This is a defense that is young and beat up. They're missing a couple of key players. You know, Lorenzo Neal is out for them. Marcus Bailey's also out. So what Nick Holt, the D coordinator, has done this week, he's challenged these guys. You know, just kind of challenging their manhood, saying, look, you have got to be more physical. This is a big offensive line. They're not going to feel sorry for you. They're coming at you. You got to be more physical and stand up to it.
Mohamed Ibrahim, who had dealt with a leg injury last week, did not play. So we saw Rodney Smith back from injury. Now Ibrahim in the backfield. And this is Seth Green. He's the Wildcat quarterback. Green's going to attack up the middle and gets across the 5-yard line to the 4 for a gain of 2.
Part of the answer for Nick Holt, the D coordinator, is to move his defensive front. Now, you can't sit there and let these guys that outweigh you from 75 to 150 pounds just lean on you. So he's going to take his spots and move those guys and try to get some penetration.
Well, the brigade of running backs coming back. Number 4 in white is in the backfield. Shannon Brooks, great story. Tore a left ACL, came back last year, and in the first game tore his right ACL, and he is on the field right now for the first time since last October. It is a toss to Tyler Johnson, and around, contacted at the 4 and knocked down by Dedrick Mackey. Nice play on the misdirection.
What a great open field play by Mackey. I'm really surprised that they went to the edge, Minnesota, that time. You know, Mackey, very good tackle. If you're going to go and you've got this advantage here, you got 750 pounds between your right guard and your right tackle.
Crowd gets on its feet, Ron. Big defensive play here on 3rd and goal.
Yeah.
Loud in this end zone. They've shown the tendency to run right, but don't be surprised if the quarterback keeps it.
3rd and goal, direct snap to Smith, flag down, Smith extending, and he's across the line. Touchdown is the signal. And we'll wait on the penalty marker.
Offside. Defense number 27. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
So it'll be a 3-yard touchdown on the direct snap to Rodney Smith.
Right there. Can't get in the neutral zone. And instead of going on the right side, they come back to the left side with the extra tight end over there. Just a little bit of power there.
Rodney Smith with his second rushing touchdown of the season. Michael Lance, freshman kicker, on for the extra point. Officially a 2-yard touchdown. Point after is inside the left upright and good. A 75-yard drive. PJ Fleck already excitable. Tanner Morgan leading an opening touchdown drive here at Purdue. The cradle of quarterbacks. They got astronauts here. They got quarterbacks here. We saw the young Bob Greasy. Drew Brees also, the outstanding work he did here at Purdue. And that kind of leads nicely into Elijah Sindelar, who is set kind of Drew Brees-ish like numbers in his first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that was the start he had his first couple of games. You see it there, 400+ yards in back-to-back games. First one to do it since Mr. Drew Brees. And it'll be really interesting to watch and see how long it takes him to get back into that flow. You know, timing and how he handles a hit, all that kind of good stuff. And coming back from concussion is not easy.
And we'll see how this Purdue team looks off the bye. Minnesota looked spectacular on a 75-yard drive. Rondale Moore will let this one hit about a yard deep in the end zone, dead for a touchback, and we will get a look at the Purdue offense starting at the 25-yard line. You saw those numbers from Sindelar. Breeze-like running, setting the tone running. That's a big issue here. We talked about Minnesota's struggle running. Purdue has had a similar fate.
Well, make no mistake about it, though. Sindelar's #1 goal is to get the ball to Rondale Moore. They've got to get him involved early and often. He only had 5 targets last game against TCU, and that was not good enough.
First play is a slant to David Bell, still on his feet inside the 25-yard line. What a change from the Cormier punt, the defensive stop, and a quick hit there on the slant.
Yeah, and good protection, so the freshman receiver Bell, who's had a bad shoulder, is able to make that route, run that dig, and get that catch.
Well, they're going up tempo here after the 17-yard gain. Pulling it back, Sindelar finds a Rondale Moore. Moore trying to make a move and gets to the 16-yard line before Jordan Howden takes him down another 7 gain.
Can you imagine how difficult it must have been to play tag against him as a kid?
Frustrating.
Yeah. There's just no way you get a hand on him.
And you got to look at Jeff Brom. He had a pretty fiery conversation with Elijah Sindelar after that first drive went nowhere, and Sindelar on the second drive has him 2nd down and 3. Pulls it back, fires, complete. Out to the 10-yard line, to the 5, and gang tackle Jackson Anthrop. That'll move the chains. 1st and goal Boilers.
The quick passing game allows them to get the ball out quick. They've had trouble protecting the quarterback. Brom likes to use the screen game an awful lot.
Yeah, the good news, guys, is that he also hasn't taken a hit yet, Elijah Sindelar. They've kept it pretty clean for him. And now they'll set up with a chance, looking to tie. 5.5 minutes to go here in the first. 1st and goal after the 11-yard gain. 3 in the backfield. Doru hit. Forward progress up to the 4-yard line for 1.
I would imagine that you'll get more back on the field for this 2nd down play. Gives you more options down here. Now, the question is, where do they line him up down here? Even as a decoy, he can take a couple defenders away from him. And it looks like he's going to go in a slot position somewhere up here. Now, if he's singled up, well, he's one-on-one out there. You can't ignore that, right?
So DeAndre Thomas going to guard him this time. They're looking for more on the slant. Broken up, and a flag comes in.
Yeah.
Thomas was the defender. Winfield the safety coming over.
Everyone sitting in the top row around here looked at and they said, hey, there's single coverage on that guy. Don't we want to throw the ball to him?
Ball was deflected, though, gentlemen.
There is no foul for pass interference. The ball was tipped. 3rd down.
Great call, Q. Let's take a look at that deflection.
Yep.
Renner
tipped
got
at the line of scrimmage.
So Sam Renner tipped it. No flag.
That's a really good route by Moore to get inside. He never gave the defensive back a chance to get his hands on him and keep him from getting inside.
So now 3rd and goal for Purdue.
Quarterback draw.
Sindelar throws, another slant, knocked away. Nice defense by Coney Durr that time on the pass intended for David Bell. Both teams' defenses playing well inside the 5.
Well, remember we talked about, timing. Now, the good defense by Minnesota, but these are very precise passes in a short area that have to be thrown by Sindelar. And remember, he's coming off the concussion. This is his first live game action in a couple of weeks. It'll get better, but this is precise stuff down here. Not surprised that it was a little difficult.
A nice couple of passes early to get him in position. This is a 21-yard field goal attempt. It is up and through for J.D. Dellinger. Purdue gets 3 points off it. 4.5 minutes to go. First quarter. Minnesota leads. J.D. Dellinger will kick it off here. And Rodney Smith will watch that out the back of the end zone. Late run. Rodney Smith twisting and turning and gets across to the 30-yard line.
And since we're talking about rankings, let me get it off my chest. So Auburn has played as difficult a schedule as anyone and handled it. They're undefeated. Notre Dame going to Georgia and playing that tough game. I think those are two teams that really ought to be moved up in the rankings.
Well, it'll be Notre Dame and Virginia tonight. Rankings are interesting, especially in September.
Now, don't get me wrong. I still think at the end of the day, Alabama and Clemson will be there. I'm just talking about right now.
That's right. Michigan getting back on track, if you will. Shutout win over Rutgers today after a tough loss a week ago. And this time it's a pass on the slant. Caught Autman Bell. He's got some room at the 40-yard line. He's got a blocker as well from Johnson. Autman Bell takes it to the house. 70 yards.
Well, we've seen this an awful lot. This is just that RPO. You see the linebacker come inside, creates that huge area, and Minnesota loves the slant plays, and Autman Bell gets right into that area. Here it is. Linebackers inside, nickelback inside, and then the slant. That was way too easy for Minnesota.
Chris Autman Bell, who is, I don't want to say he's one of the forgotten really good receivers on a team stacked with good receivers. Tyler Johnson, Rashad Bateman. His second touchdown catch of the year is Michael Lance. Extra point is good. That's impressive for Chris Autman Bell, whose only other touchdown reception was that tying touchdown catch where he just got his foot in the back of the end zone late fourth quarter at Fresno State to force overtime, a game they would go on to win. A career-long reception for Chris Autman Bell of 70 yards.
Their wide receiver coach, Matt Simon, told me pregame they design their routes to capitalize on the run-fit assignments of linebackers and the secondary guys.
Yeah.
And he had the safety moving toward help, and he was going in the wrong direction as Autman Bell was on the slant the other way. Grant Ryerson, and this will be taken out by Rondell Moore. Moore bouncing off the pack outside the 25 and out of bounds just shy of the 30-yard line. So Purdue will take over at their 29-yard line after the 20-yard return from Rondell Moore. Jackson Anthrop, who was a running back in high school, is a wide receiver here in the backfield. They hit Rondell Moore on a pass out to the 40-yard line for an 11-yard gain.
Well, I think one thing you're going to do if you're Purdue, if you get single coverage on Moore, you're going to take this all day. You're going to force them to change up what they're doing, and even if they're just playing off a soft zone and playing off of him, you still take advantage of that.
Second reception for Moore. We told you off the top, only had 3 last week, or 2 weeks ago in their loss against TCU. Another pass play, pressure coming, and down he goes inside the 30-yard line. Tavon Devers. And Elijah Sindelar is down. Remember, we told you just coming off the concussion 2 weeks ago.
For an injured player.
Oh, and Rondell Moore is down as well. Wow, a devastating play right there. Best quarterback and receiver both down on the same play.
Remember, Sindelar is coming off of a concussion. He's been out 2 weeks, but during that 2-week span, he was under the care of the medical staff, was cleared to play, but had not had any contact. Now here's down the field. You're getting double coverage on Moore, and you see he had that awkward step, and he grabbed his knee after he got pushed. With Sindelar, simply, you know, no contact and not much full speed action.
Ooh, wow.
What would it be like when he first got back out here?
Moore just took a step,
and went
his
down.
leg buckled and went down, and the crowd just gasped.
Yeah, here's that look at it.
This is horrible.
It's his left leg. Watch that left leg.
Here's a look at Sindelar. Head hit the ground, immediately went toward the left shoulder as well. And Moore can't put any. We're seeing Sindelar, but there's Moore now.
Wow.
You talk about a catastrophic play. Sindelar's been through so much in his career. 2 knee surgeries, arthritis in his knee, then the concussion, and now this. And Moore, who's only a sophomore, but, I mean, let's face facts, he's one of the most electric players in the nation, NFL future. You hate to see this.
He's struggling to put any weight on that left leg. Just a tiny bit now as he's being helped off.
Right. And with Sindelar, we don't know from what we've seen whether that is a shoulder issue or if it is something to do with his head. We can't tell. And leading into the game, we were all concerned or worried about whether he was ready to come back. Jeff Brom said he left it completely up to the medical staff, and they probably felt like they gave him more time to come back.
So
and
there's
this will bring in
Jack Plummer, who played last week. And Plummer will hand it off to Anthrop, who gets crunched across the 35-yard line by Thomas Barber.
The energy is gone from this place right now.
Yeah, how are you going to react? Okay, you're 1 and 2, not playing well. Your best 2 players just carted off on the same play. How do you react emotionally and physically? Who steps up? Who are the leaders?
Well, you're stunned, Hugh. It's going to take a few minutes. You're absolutely stunned. It just doesn't happen that often.
So Moore going into the tent, helmet off.
Stadium silent.
Wow. 3rd and 14. Plummer pumps. He's going to run. Got to get to the 50. And it looks like he got it right at the line to make. Antoine Winfield with a tackle on the scramble by Plummer of 14 yards. And that gets a little bit of life back here in this crowd.
Well, Plummer adds this to the offense. You can run the quarterback, and that might help this offense get a little bit more of a spark, because there was some hesitancy with running Sindelar because of his coming back off of a concussion. But now with Plummer in, and he's a big guy, you can run him some, and maybe that helps the offense. But on the other hand, you've now lost more.
That's right. You've lost your top receiver, all everything. King Doru, freshman, gets the edge at the 40, and another first down before he's ridden down. 15-yard pickup for the freshman from Amarillo, Texas.
Okay, we got a little bit of a resurgence by the left side of that offensive line. They really powered out and knocked off that Minnesota edge there so that they could pick up that first down.
This game changes entirely from a tactical standpoint. Purdue's going to have to go to the ground game. Ahmad Anderson, receiver number 10, is going to have to step up and look for their tight end, Hopkins.
Pass play for the redshirt freshman. Back shoulder, incomplete. David Bell on the crosser.
Well, they're already missing Jared Sparks, one of their starting receivers. Now you take Moore out of there. You're really relying on a couple of freshmen who haven't had a lot of targets for Jeff Brom. You're asking those guys to step up and be the passing attack. So I would expect them to lean towards their tight end, Bryson Hopkins, to get them some plays and to try to find some of the rushing attack.
King Doru in the backfield. Bryson Hopkins in the H-back position. Here's Doru. Yards after catch, possibly 2 broken tackles. The shifty freshman to the 25.
Watch 89, the tight end come across, get a great block there, which opens up the lane there for King Doru. So a little bit of energy, push from the offensive line. A little gut check here for them.
Does that affect the defense too? It's not your guys getting hurt, but there was definitely a huge lull in the game as they fake on the jet sweep. Plummer, end zone, caught at the 7-yard line. Jackson Anthrop.
What an effort by Plummer. He's being harassed. He doesn't have the time, and he just muscles this out there with a jump throw. Not a perfect throw, but he got it to Anthrop. Had he had time and got it in front of him, that's a touchdown.
And you have to imagine Plummer filling in for Sindelar 2 weeks ago, getting his first career start. Must do some good for him. Final 3 seconds of the quarter. Will they get a playoff? They will. They move the pocket to the right. Running out of room. Plummer throwing it out of bounds, looking for Ahmad Anderson in the back corner of the end zone. A devastating Purdue injury late in the first quarter. Trailing 14-3 here at Ross-Ade after one. We get the start of the second quarter. Rondale Moore, outstanding receiver for Purdue, still in the injury tent. So Jack Plummer in relief. Xander Horvath, the running back, passing play. Plummer now running for his life and just gets rid of it as he was grabbed by Micah Dude. Treadway incomplete.
And Moore is still being evaluated.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 89 was in the area. Third down.
Moore is still in the tent being evaluated, and the quarterback remains in the locker room. He walked off on his own power. Looked to be an upper body injury, but the feeling on the from the field, gentlemen, is that this game has kind of changed now. This is a different Purdue offense without Sindelar and Moore.
Different
and I think that
yeah.
changes the picture for Minnesota's defense. It's almost as if you have to throw the old script out and start over from scratch.
I think that's right. And where do you go on third down now if you're Purdue?
Third and goal. They'll send Horvath out. He's looking for Horvath. Sends it to him at the 5 and gets into the end zone for the touchdown. They had 5 runs in this series. To talk about this drive that you mentioned the change on, and they went for the swing this time.
Well, pre-snap motion with Horvath. Linebacker was late going with him in man-to-man coverage. And that's a simple mistake. There's something to what you say, Q, about the change in the approach and the defense maybe sleeping a little bit, and they just weren't prepared for the notion of a fullback on a pre-snap motion out of the backfield.
Bellinger's extra point right down the middle. And 11 seconds into the second quarter, you could not ask for a better series from the backup Jack Plummer. So Purdue, after a massive injury-filled play that took down 2 of their top stars, Jack Plummer in relief, an 11-play, 71-yard drive. First career touchdown reception for the sophomore Xander Horvath. And Rodney Smith among those waiting back on a low kick angle toward the pylon. Wow, just snuck inside the pylon. Minnesota 4-point lead. Tanner Morgan on first down. Wide open, Autman Bell. Upended at the 30-yard line.
Well, we've seen this earlier. This is the same play. It's the RPO with the slant behind it. Fake the run and get those linebackers inside, throw it right behind it. There's been no change or adjustment by Purdue to deal with that. And so Minnesota's gone back to it. We'll see it again.
Bread and butter.
Yeah.
And Tanner Morgan, very much comfort and rhythm. I like his feet. I like his eyes better today than what we've seen on tape.
I was just going to say that. He feels really comfortable. 8 for 8 now. 22 yards on that pickup. Little jet sweep action. Tyler Johnson on a dime sprinting upfield and gets close to the 40.
So, Q, part of the problem with the RPO for Purdue defensively, they don't have confidence to switch up and play man, for example, and take that away. They don't feel they can do man coverage. And when you can't do that, you have defenders who have a run responsibility and a pass responsibility, and they become vulnerable in that run-pass option.
Conflict.
Yes.
2nd and 3. Off the give, bouncing off Rodney Smith into the secondary. He'll move the chains to the 45 of Purdue.
He's a good player. He's an underrated but a really good player. Rodney Smith is a bit of a slasher. You can always find him kind of keeping his balance, keeping his shoulders parallel. Good hard runner, Q.
Yeah, I liked the way Morgan, the quarterback, just took a little extra beat with that mesh and waited and made the right read.
And they end up getting 16 yards, Q. First down and 10. Rodney Smith off his right hip. Fifth-year senior, granted a sixth year of eligibility last year. Pass on the slant, caught Rashad Bateman, turns the defender away, and will take it in for a touchdown. 45 yards, Rashad Bateman.
Well, we said you'd see it again. Didn't know it would be that fast, but it's the same play. It's the RPO with that slant behind the run fake. And when your defenders are attacking their run fits inside, you see the huge gap behind it. And Tanner Morgan feels confident, comfortable, puts that ball up high, right where it's an easy catch for Bateman at 6'2". Wow.
That didn't take long.
Nope.
4 plays, 90 yards, and a minute 45. Extra point is good. Minnesota off that bye week. Rod, the offense looking good.
Oh, man. Tanner Morgan rolling. Got it going. All set. 3 times already.
Boy, a couple big plays, big touchdown plays already in the first half.
Yeah, the RPO game is just killing Purdue right now. They're going to have to make some adjustments and deal with it, but it's a big problem.
TJ Sheffield's going to watch this one. Caught it at the 1. He's going to bring it out late. And he gets tripped up over at the 15-yard line. And Doru with the give on first down. Coming up on 3.5 to go in the first half. Gets 4.
Jeff Brom calling plays, the head coach.
Meanwhile, we saw DJ Washington when we left with an apparent left leg injury, was helped off. Mike McCann, the starter, is in. And on second down, a slant play. They'll move the chains. It appears they've already told the head linesman to move it. As David Bell's helmet came off, he'll have to come out for a play on a 6-yard gain.
Number 3 from Purdue.
Bell has made a couple of catches today and stepped up. He can't replace Moore, but he's certainly given a little bit of a spark.
Just joining us, Elijah Sindelar and Rondale Moore, quarterback and top receiver, both went down on the same play. Shoulder Sindelar, knee for Moore, about the 3.5-minute mark of the first quarter. Here's Plummer, and here comes the pressure, and down he goes at the 25-yard line. Sam Renner with the sack.
Well, there's a blitz inside. You see it coming right at you. And they just didn't do a good job of getting rid of the ball. That was Kamal Martin, 21, who came inside. Plummer's got to get rid of that football. I mean, he sees the pressure right in his face. That's got to come out sooner.
Now clock and game score management becomes imperative for both coaches here. If you're Purdue, you're just trying to keep it close going into halftime.
Second down and 21. Plummer looks over to the sideline with King Doru, his freshman back. Coming up on 2:15 to go in the half. Pass is blocked and knocked down by Carter Coughlin, the defensive end.
Q, I'm with you. As difficult as this first half has been for Purdue, right now you want to get out of here without anything bad happening, as this thing almost turned into a disaster as Carter Coughlin knocked that ball up in the air and almost had a shot at it.
So you keep this play alive and on the ground, and the clock rolling.
Yep.
Force Minnesota to burn their last time out and then punt the ball away.
Third down and 21. There you see the numbers for Purdue, but they got to get to the 48-yard line. Plummer just trying to stay alive. Got a couple of extra blocks. Oh, tried to lead Dorud, but threw behind him into the turf, incomplete.
Yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Run around, quarterback in a little bit of danger, and you stop the clock too, and they get to keep their timeout.
Carter Coughlin with the pressure that time. We saw the sack and the pressure. Really first time this afternoon Minnesota's pass rush getting a leg up.
And that was a pass rush with 3.
As you see DJ Washington being carted off. Just too many injuries for Purdue this afternoon. Sindelar, Moore, and now the backup right guard Washington. Demetrius Douglas waiting on this punt from Brooks Cormier. quite get all of it this time, and it is fair caught at the 38-yard line by Douglas. 90 seconds to go in the half. Big conversion. Loading up, goes under on the check down. Smith running away from the defense. Still on his feet to the 31. Cornell Jones, the stop, 20-yard pickup. They're going up tempo with 1:13.
Plenty of time, and they do have a timeout. They can use the entire field.
Tanner Morgan is now 12 for 12 in the first half. Pressure coming. And that pressure forced him to release it early, incomplete. Ben Holt that time.
And this was a little game, a little pressure up the middle. Tanner Morgan recognized the delayed blitz coming by Holt. And they may need a little bit more of that because, you know, when they only bring 3 or 4, they really haven't gotten there. They got once earlier in this drive, and they struggle on the back end when there's enough time for the quarterback. So you may see more pressure here.
First incompletion for Tanner Morgan after those first 12. Second down and 10. Little tunnel screen action. Demetrius Douglas wrapped up at the 25-yard line under a minute to go in the half. They pick up 6.
And Minnesota has pushed Purdue into more man-to-man coverage, so don't be surprised to see a shot at the end zone here.
3rd and 4. Pumping, throwing, open. Tyler Johnson down at the 10-yard line. They could use that last timeout if they want to. Right now they'll stop the clock to move the chains with 36 seconds to go.
What a nice job by Tanner Morgan. Patience, eyes downfield. He has to clutch, and he waits for Johnson to come back around.
1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Johnson makes the catch. Knocked down at the 4 by Simeon Smiley.
That's how much confidence they have in Johnson. That ball was thrown well before Johnson turned around and made his move.
Jay Fleck, you see, was right out there to use that 3rd and final timeout.
Timeout to Minnesota. Their 3rd and final timeout.
Purdue will get the ball to start the second half, but your point is incredibly well taken here as Minnesota with 20 seconds, no timeouts, 2nd down and 1. They first down markers right at the 2-yard line, with 20 seconds to go. Ibrahim is in.
You can run the ball, but you have to hurry if you don't get into the end zone.
It'll be a pass play. Fade, corner end zone, touchdown, Tyler Johnson.
Why run it when you can throw it to the guy that you have the most trust in, with great leaping ability, great hands, game-winning catch to his credit already this season. Stutter, fade, go up and get it. That's pretty. 2 feet in, you only need 1 in the college game. That's just pretty.
3rd touchdown pass of the afternoon for Tanner Morgan. That's the 24th touchdown reception for Tyler Johnson, now tied for 3rd all-time in Gophers history. Extra point is good. But Minnesota with a healthy first half from Tanner Morgan. 298 yards passing. As we head to the studio for our Army National Guard halftime report after these messages. Welcome back to the Big Ten on ESPN from Ross-Ade Stadium, West Lafayette, Indiana. The Golden Gophers of Minnesota bidding to stay unbeaten with the lead over Purdue. 28-10, an outstanding first half for Tanner Morgan. Sophomore quarterback, nearly perfect. 3 touchdowns to his 3 outstanding receivers, Tyler Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Chris Ottman-Bell, and Purdue lost its starting quarterback and top receiver will have the ball first as the kickoff goes out back of the end zone. As we check in downstairs, Quint Kesnick spoke with both coaches.
Yeah, Jeff Brom told me that his quarterback, Jack Plummer, has got to be a little less tentative. Step up in the pocket and throw the ball with some velocity. Look for Purdue to take some shots on first down when protection is a little easier. They'll go max protect and perhaps stretch the field. If you're Minnesota, second half is about ground and pound. P.J. Fleck as a head coach, terrific with the lead. They'll try to shrink this game, matriculate, get first downs, and use the clock.
Well, Q, he's got the offensive line to do it. And he knows how to work a clock and manage a game. 14-1 when he leads.
Looking for a 6th consecutive win dating back to last season. This is King Doru off the left side. The freshman will have a first down and a 12-yard run, 13-yard run to open up this second half.
Yeah, first time they've run the power play, and it worked out well for them. That's just collapsed that left side and picked up a first down. They really do need to have a good start here in the second half.
Jack Plummer in relief of Elijah Sindelar. On a Doru run, he's got wide open spaces across midfield. Gets to the 46-yard line. We had 2 big injuries to the 2 best players of Purdue on one play in the first half.
Yeah, the very same play. You get your quarterback, Sindelar, pounded into the turf, hurts his shoulder, and then a misstep here after being pushed more hurts what appears to be his left knee, and neither returned to the ball game.
Jack Plummer in relief, and they're going to the ground. Doru, the freshman, gets spun around, trying to reach out to the 45-yard line, taken down by Carter Coughlin, a gain of 1.
And just for good measure, if you haven't had enough injuries as a Purdue fan, lost an offensive lineman. DJ Washington also went down in the first half.
Went down with an apparent left leg injury. So there's your injuries from the offensive side for Jeff Brom in his 3rd year as head coach of Purdue. And a run to the right side, forward progress to the 39 for Xander Horvath.
Yeah, a little bit tougher over on that side for Purdue. Thomas Barber getting up there, getting involved. He's an excellent linebacker. You mentioned Barber around the Minnesota campus, and that family's been tied to that place for a long, long time.
42 years, not consecutively of Barbers at Minnesota, but Thomas Barber's father, Marion II, of course, was a Minnesota Golden Gophers standout running back in the late 70s. On the slant, caught David Bell and spins inside the 25.
A little bit of Minnesota's medicine with this slant route. Bell trying to pick up some of the slack with Moore out. Has really been a help today for Purdue. Big body, 6'2", 210.
Plummer is 11 of 19 in relief of Sindelar. Making a shot for the end zone. Anderson being held. That's going to be a pass interference call. DeAndre Thomas in coverage, grabbing the jersey of Ahmad Anderson.
Yeah, easy call. Nice job by Anderson getting behind him, but a smart play.
Defense number 31. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Smart play by Thomas, because if he doesn't commit the pass interference, this is a touchdown. He grabs. That's a smart play.
At the distance, will mark it to about the 8-yard line. First series at a timeout, down 18. You know, they had a burst in the first quarter, as you pointed out, after the injuries. And now trying to get one here on a Doru run inside the 5 and extends the run across the goal line. First career touchdown run for the freshman King Doru.
What a hole inside. Unbelievable blocking by Beach, the center, and McCann, the right guard. Wow. They open up a huge hole inside.
That is the first rushing touchdown by a Purdue player, not a quarterback. Elijah Sindelar had the only rushing touchdown for the Boilermakers this year till King Doru moments ago. J.D. Dellinger's extra point, and that one's good. Nice first half for Purdue. Backup quarterback and a freshman running back gets them 7. Timeout here at Ross-Ade. Back in West Lafayette, Indiana, Purdue trailing at halftime, able to get a touchdown from that man, King Doru, to open up this third quarter. And now the Boilermakers will kick off, and we'll see what Minnesota has. Their offense has been so impressive in the first half. End over end kick, and this one's going to sail out the back of the end zone. Let's take a look. Now the question will be this Purdue defense, if they could slow down Tanner Morgan, who had a 16 for 17 first half, 298 yards. It's about 5 yards off his career best on the RPO. Going deep to one of his big receivers. Bateman juggled and caught. What an outstanding catch.
That is a 50-50 ball that Bateman took away from Mosley. Great coverage, great position. Now who makes the play? And Bateman made the play.
Reminded me of David Tyree a little bit, where the ball was stuck on the crown of the helmet. The flip on the misdirection. Tyler Johnson buried from behind, picked up a couple to the 18-yard line.
Not fooling Cornell Jones. Not falling for that one. Sitting right in there waiting. Young man from Miami Central High School, a powerhouse in the high school game in the Florida area. You don't find many of those Florida players who come up here. How did he lose the first half of his number?
Yeah, the six.
Half the six is gone.
Yeah, these are the alternate jerseys Purdue wearing today here at home, the gray unis.
That's when you go to the ref and say, see, I was held.
Second down, Smith dives across the 15-yard line. We'll give Ben Holt the tackle there. A 4-yard gain. 3rd and short coming for the Gophers. Boiler train's been blowing an awful lot on 3rd down. Minnesota's had, the big plays in this game for their scoring. Purdue's 3rd down defense hasn't been awful, just giving up the big plays in the first half.
Well, this would be a big one here. Holding into a field goal attempt would really get the crowd going.
Play clock down to 3. Morgan on the screen. Douglas has it. He's dropped for a loss at the 15. Nick Holt, the co-defensive coordinator, got to like that right there.
Yeah, really aggressive, really good playing. Now they got a chance to get back in this if they hold in the 3 here.
Michael Lance is on for a 33-yard field goal attempt. They attempted a 51-yarder at the end of the half that was short. Lance's kick right through the goalposts and good. So Purdue's defense holding Minnesota to 3. Gophers extend the lead. 2-score lead, 14 points as we break. Welcome back to Ross-Ade Stadium, West Lafayette. Purdue down 14 to Minnesota here just about midway through this 3rd quarter.
Well, Purdue started the second half with a touchdown drive and then held Minnesota to a field goal. So they're sort of back in this thing. And if you have another drive and cut this to a 1-possession game, this crowd will really, really start to get into it.
Of course, they lost Rondale Moore in the first quarter. Great receiver, but also returner. This is their kickoff specialist, Grant Ryerson. We'll have TJ Sheffield and Ahmad Anderson back to return for the Boilers. In danger of a 1-3 start, down 14. High end over end kick. Sheffield a yard deep. Tripped up just past the 15 to the 16-yard line. First down from the 16. That's a keep. And right into the hands of this Minnesota defense. And this crowd is hoping for a personal foul. No penalty marker comes out. A loss of 3 on the sack. Philip Howard. There's a little bit of a tug down there, and I guess if you're Jack Plummer, probably wondering why you're hearing the whistles.
Yeah, the fans didn't like it. They felt he was slammed to the ground.
So a loss of 3 sets up 2nd and 13. Plummer checks it down on the swing. And Doru's out shy of the 20. 5-yard gain for the freshman, getting the start for Jeff Fromm's Boilermakers. Remember last year they made a bowl game despite an 0-3 start to the season. They were able to make a turnaround. Young team dealing with injuries and even more injuries now to star players.
Well, they were pretty banged up coming into this game.
3rd and 17. Edge pressure. Set up a screen over the middle. Doru at the 15-yard line can get back to the original line of scrimmage. Braylon Oliver after a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, it's a good play, good call. Good positioning. Play the field position game. Give your punter some room. And ask your defense to get you another stop and get you the ball back.
Demetrius Douglas waiting back for Minnesota. He's standing at the 45-yard line, waiting on Brooks Cormier. Runner end over end. Fair catch signal, and the catch made plus territory at the 46-yard line. And little double pump. Pressure coming. Karlaftis gets rid of it. Bateman over the shoulder catch. Another touchdown for the Golden Gophers, and another big one going for 47.
Wow. Perfect setup. A nice double move and a pump fake. Sets it up nicely. Your matchup is out here. Now watch the pump fake there, but you get this and then a go. And it's the double move that gets him wide open. I'm not going inside. It's a slant and go. Wide open. Wow. Mackey bit on it. Morgan gave him the pump fake. Beautiful. Too easy.
Extra point is good. He's doubled up his touchdowns. He had 2 coming in. That's his 2nd of the day for 47 yards. Look at the extension. 4th touchdown pass for Tanner Morgan, a career high. Rashad Bateman's 2nd touchdown grab of the day. Minnesota's offense has been smooth all day long, Rod Gilmore.
Yeah, they've taken advantage of a depleted, beat-up Purdue defense, beat-up team. You think about Purdue not having Lorenzo Neal up front or Marcus Bailey at linebacker, both out with injuries, not likely back this season.
Irish kickoff will sail out the back for a touchback as Purdue takes over. Don't forget, you could see that Ohio State-Nebraska game, 7:30 Eastern over on ABC as Jack Plummer runs it out of bounds. So Wisconsin and Iowa with the wins today, so they're both 2-0 in conference.
Yep.
Nebraska plays tonight on ABC, as we mentioned. They won their first conference game. And then Minnesota, you're right, they're in great position scheduling-wise. They're kind of backloaded on the ranked teams, the East portion, if you will, the Penn State, the Iowa, Wisconsin later this year. Plummer tried a quick slant through the hands of Bell, incomplete.
And scheduling is huge. It can make a difference along with injuries. I mean, think about Minnesota. Good schedule, get off to a nice start. 3-0, chance to be 4-0 today, and your team is healthy. You know, they could go, look at this win percentage. They're likely to beat Illinois, favored in Nebraska, Rutgers, Maryland. Until they get to Penn State, they'll be favored to win 3 or 4 more games.
Going to finish though. Penn State at Iowa, at Northwestern, and then the Wisconsin game. Last year, of course, the huge win over the Badgers in Minnesota.
Then on the other hand, if you're a Purdue fan, you can't buy a break. You lose your 2 best players on defense. You lose your 2 best players on offense, and you were already coming into today without, a starting receiver in Jared Parks, and then you lose a lineman. You just don't have any luck.
I think that family just showed sitting in the stands, kind of belying the Boilermaker team right now without a comeback and a few defensive stands, staring at 1-3. A catch made at the 26-yard line by Demetrius Douglas with 5:37 to play in the half after the 44-yard punt, and no return. 3. Rod Rodney Smith bouncing off defenders to the 40.
We were looking at the Big Ten West. I didn't hear your response. Wisconsin, Iowa, did you start buying Wisconsin completely after they just woodshedded Michigan?
I think I jumped on the train, after that Michigan win. Iowa looked very impressive today. Again, non-conference victory over Middle Tennessee. Be fun to watch Nebraska tonight, the ABC game against Ohio State. And then the big question is this Minnesota team. Great schedule set up, looking to go to 4-0, Big Ten opener. And they're going to continue to run clock here late in the third behind Rodney Smith, taking defenders with him, a couple extra yards, a chain mover with 38 seconds to go here in the third.
Well, this is the most complete game we've seen from Minnesota. I mean, their first 3 games, they've been the cardiac kids of college football. I mean, taking everything down to the last play or into overtime, coming up with great throws and catches and an end zone pick in overtime. They've done all that to get to 3-0. Today, they've been much more dominant, much more consistent on both sides of the ball.
One thing for sure, the Big Ten West wide open at the start of the year. Starting to form. Final seconds of the third quarter. Smith spinning. Got to about midfield, and that'll do it for the third. I think it's time for PJ Fleck to get his exercise in.
Third quarter.
We saw him at the end of the first quarter take a healthy sprint.
Don't let the coach beat you.
Balls in midfield. There's hardly anywhere to sprint.
That's right. We had him at the 1-yard line last time. Nowhere to go. Fourth quarter next. A 38-17 lead as we get the fourth quarter started from midfield. Tanner Morgan and company, 388 passing yards, 4 touchdowns in their Big Ten opener, and they'll continue to go to Rodney Smith, who finds a big hole out across the 35 to the 33-yard line.
That was over on that right side behind Faalele, 400 pounds, and his running mate Dunlap, 345. That's a lot of beef on that right side. 750 pounds pushing Purdue out to the sideline. Yikes.
For those on Faalele, we talked about only his 3rd year playing football. I was reading an interesting story on him that I think has aged me, because he was learning American football rules. He said that not only playing football helped, but playing Madden also helped him.
A generation raised on Madden football video games.
Smith again. Out across the 30-yard line, back from an oblique injury, picks up 4.
I still think it's totally amazing that coaches went out and saw him before he played football, because he wanted to know how to play before he got into a game. And they saw him work out, and at 6'9", 400 pounds, they're like, yeah, you have a scholarship. I haven't seen you play, but you got a scholarship.
6'9", 400 pounds. That run, by the way, for Rodney Smith, he's now got 17 rushes for 100 yards. So for the 7th straight meeting between Minnesota and Purdue, the Gophers have a 100-yard rusher. So Shannon Brooks this time upended at the 26. So we know Faalele is 6'9" and 400. There's our Quint Kesnick getting close.
Yeah, that gives you an idea. And he's bigger than the other linemen. I mean, Q has no chance against him. None of us have a chance against him.
I'm erroneously listed at 5'9", 164.
Well, we know the 164 is wrong.
I mean, that's like 2 people right there.
Yeah. Well, and everybody recruited him. He chose Minnesota. No, he chose PJ Fleck. Felt like home to him.
Well, they got a little IMG pipeline going on as well.
They got to counterbalance when you're rowing the boat right on the other side so it doesn't list. And here goes Tanner Morgan, taken down by Ben Holt, the 5th-year senior.
Yeah, Holt makes the play. He's happy. He's playing for his dad, the defensive coordinator, and playing for his old head coach from Western Kentucky. That's Brom. And you know who's happiest of all about that?
Mama Holt.
Mama Holt.
Jackson Anthrop waiting back inside the 10. High end over end. Special teams with a chance here. Oh, it checks up beautifully. And Minnesota's going to down that inside the 1. Jacob Herber's one happy punter, a 41-yard punt.
I guess the extra 5 yards delay game helped.
PJ Fleck knows what he's doing. Gophers a 38-17 lead. 12 minutes to go in the game. And right now near the goal line. That's Plummer himself. Will get 2 yards out to the 3.
Yeah, you know, we can show the injuries, but we can't tell you or show you exactly what happened in the stadium. All the air went out of the stadium when Rondale Moore went down. You know, he tried to get up once, and as he fell back down, this collective groan came over the stadium too. It was
palpable, and it all happened on one play. If you're just joining us, that was the same play. Both those guys injured. Pass out. Anthrop trying to spin through the tacklers, gets out of bounds at the 11. Williamson.
And to Purdue's credit, they fought hard after that to kind of stay in the game. They didn't lose contact with Minnesota until right before halftime.
It's amazing to me, Rod. Think about college football and how quickly things can change dramatically, whether it's Florida and Felipe Franks, USC, JT Daniels. I mean, you never know.
Yep.
Pump fake. Going into coverage. Incomplete that time for Milton Wright.
I did not see that coming. I thought Clemson was at about the point where they were going to start taking off, but Mac Brown's team giving them all that they want.
Notre Dame also in a close game with Virginia. North here in Indiana as King Doru has nowhere to go. The Minnesota defense rallying to the ball. Thomas Barber a stop.
Yeah, Thomas Barber, part of that Barber clan, doing a great job inside out. 6 foot, 240-pound senior.
Now, number 41 should look familiar. That was the number his dad wore.
Yep.
Of course, his brother Marion played with the Cowboys, played at Minnesota, and Dominique also, Barber. Another brother, all tied to Minnesota. On 3rd and 13. Plummer, first down. Showing us some wheels here a couple of times.
Yeah, he's brought this aspect to it. Winfield makes the tackle, but stays alive, and he's run a couple of times to get some key first downs. And this was a good first down for them. It gets them out of the shadow of their goalposts. They won't have to punt from their own end zone, and a chance to get a little bit of momentum going.
22 yards on the ground for Jack Plummer. Under 10 minutes to go. Give to Armour, will get bottled up. An easy schedule for Purdue. They're one of just 4 Power 5 teams playing 11 Power 5 games in 19. You got the Big Ten schedule starting today, so that accounts for 9. They've already played Vanderbilt and TCU in this 3rd season for Jeff Brom.
Yeah, and you know, they've got a problem. I mean, they're young. They've got a number of injuries. All their star players are out, banged up.
That's Anderson out on the top of your screen, breaking a couple of tackles and moving the chains.
What an effort by Anderson. He's not a big guy, about 170 pounds, 5'11", but you saw the way he fought to get the extra yardage. We've seen a lot of that today by Purdue on offense and defense. They may be young, not experienced, but these guys are scrappers.
Well, one thing, if you're a Purdue team, you're never going to give up on a game when Jeff Brom's your head coach. He's going to keep these guys going. You mentioned the youth. Despite what appears to be a 1-3 start. Little play action on first down. Caught by David Bell down at the 15.
I'm telling you, these youngsters, these freshman receivers, they have shown up today. Bell in single coverage here, actually zone coverage, and zone coverage turns to single coverage. He goes up and makes the play. This is a 50-50 ball. These guys are being aggressive. We've seen that from Bell. We've seen it from Wright. We've seen it from Anderson, all freshman receivers.
Well, Jeff Brom talked about recruiting in the home state. David Bell was the Gatorade Player of the Year here in the state of Indiana. Plummer from the 16. They're going to run. Chipped down inside the 10 by Carter Coughlin.
Well, if you're Jeff Brom, you have to be pleased with the way that your team has fought and continued to fight despite losing Moore, Sindelar, losing Washington. They lost so many guys on offense, 3 starters, yet they never kind of gave it up. They just kept plugging away. And I think the spark, these freshman receivers have provided a lot of that.
Redshirt freshman backup Jack Plummer at quarterback. Little screen set up, but the pass is short, intended for Doru, who thought they had it set up, but ball might have been tipped with 6:10 to go.
Yeah, it was tipped before it got out there. The Coughlin who gets it? Yeah, it is.
That was a fortunate tip because that was a well-designed screen.
You could see Doru was upset. He kind of stamped his foot into the ground knowing something was set up for him. Nice job by Coughlin. 3rd and 3. Flags on the play. 3 of them. Terrell Smith interfering with David Bell.
Pass interference. Defense number 4. Foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
All he did was tackle the receiver.
Guess that counts as pass interference.
Are we seeing more PI calls, Rod?
Well, on the underthrown balls we are, but you got to be able to turn around and find the ball. But that one was not even close, Q. He just tackled the guy.
Doru diving to the goal line. Touchdown. Big Doru with his second. And still 6:01 to go here on a 99-yard drive. The ball come loose after he crossed the goal line.
All you got to do is break the plane.
That's it. Near side linesman making the rule of touchdown, and J.D. Dellinger out for the extra point. So to make it a 2-score game, he does. 99-yard drive. It took 6 minutes. 6:01 left here at Ross-Ade Stadium. Back at Ross-Ade Stadium, a look at the Trent Gate. Tyler Trent, of course, honored posthumously with the Student Gate, the northeast side of Ross-Ade Stadium. He passed away on January the 1st, certainly inspired so many of us with his courageous battle of cancer. Students touch his plaque at the Tyler Gate before they enter the stadium. It was dedicated back on September 7th, which, by the way, would have been his 21st birthday.
That's not the only place around here you see references to him or his name. Up in the football offices, you see his name, pictures and things. He's really meant a lot to the Purdue community.
Well, right here, down 14, thinking onside kick opportunity for the Boilermakers.
Why not? Try to steal a possession.
We got some hands team out for Minnesota.
The key is they got to get a second hop out of this ball.
And they got a good second hop, and it's picked up by Horvath. And he's got it at the 30-yard line. What a beautiful kick by Dellinger.
It's that second hop that gets you the opportunity, and it worked perfectly.
So Purdue gets it back. Down 2 touchdowns, but a perfectly executed onside kick. Stay with us. Purdue on the right, J.D. Dellinger getting the onside kick, perfectly executed.
Yeah, Seth Green is in the middle here. He's the guy that is responsible for fielding it, but no one's behind him, so he feels he's got to take this second hop. It bounces up and hits him, and the kicker is always trying to get that second bounce. And as a hands team member, normally that second bounce, if it's too high, you let it go and let someone behind you get it. But Seth Green had no one behind him because that was a middle kick. Felt he had to take it. The ball hit him in the mask.
And Xander Horvath, who was going right up the middle, was right there for the loose ball. And this drive will start at the 47-yard line, down 14. Doru.
What a tackle.
By Kamal Martin, who's been one of the defensive stars for Minnesota today.
Yeah, he's had a day. He has had quite the day. He's been that extra guy getting into the box unblocked, and he's taken full advantage of it. A couple of picks and a number of tackles.
This is the only fourth quarter this season Minnesota has not been behind, and now David Bell off the catch, able to drag a receiver, a defender or two out across the 50 to the 47, gain of 5.
Yeah, short passing attack and guys being scrappy. They don't really have the pocket protection for the deep pass. When they do, they really have to go max protect and hope they get single coverage to take a shot, but they don't protect the quarterback real well for the deep ball.
Bell's got 103 yards receiving. This is 3rd and 4. Quick slant hit by St. Just and knocked down. It's 4th down. Tavon Devers on that play.
Now the thing is, when you lose star players like Moore, you lose that trusted guy in the clutch. You can count on him. Now they've got untested freshmen. The guy who is most trusted now would be Hopkins, the tight end, but they haven't really gone to Hopkins all day.
They converted their only other 4th down, and they got 4th and 4 right here.
Who do you trust? I trust 89.
89, and I think Bell, number 3, is a close second. Here's Plummer. Floats one left sideline. Anderson! Ahmad Anderson converting the 4th down, and the Boilermakers still rolling.
They're just throwing it up and telling these freshmen, go play, go get it. This is another 50-50 jump ball, and he's asking his guy to make the play, and Anderson does. They're throwing the ball up and telling their freshman receivers, hey, you don't have to read anything, just go get the ball. And they have been coming down with it.
Ahmad Anderson, the latest big catch from Jack Plummer's 21 of 37, 220 yards.
Over there, they got it again.
Pass out of bounds, looking for Anthrop.
They've got Minnesota back into playing man-free coverage, a free safety in the middle and single coverage on the outside. Another opportunity to throw that ball up and see if your freshman receivers can make another play.
Milton Wright, another freshman receiver, coming into the lineup now.
And he's the tallest of the crew. He's 6'3".
At the top of your screen at the 25-yard line. Little out pass is caught by Bell. It's going to be another 1st down. They'll move the chains out to the 13. Clock rolls with 4:25 to go, down 2 scores after that 12-yard pickup.
Considering how hot you've had these freshman receivers, you got a whole lot of room up top.
Plummer extending the play and sending it out of bounds.
They're on the hash mark, so to the wide field, they have a chance to create a matchup out there and use that field.
Minnesota secondary getting tested here.
Now they put 3 receivers to the top, so down to the bottom they should have, down here they should have single coverage.
Plummer on the screen. Doru. 3rd effort, touchdown.
Are you kidding me? He just refused to go down. He uses his hands to keep his balance. Does he get into the end zone before touching? Look at that right hand. He broke the plane. That was a really, really gutsy run.
Freshman from Amarillo, Texas, has his 3rd score. We got ourselves a 7-point game with 3:59 to go. Ross-Age Stadium and the Minnesota fans. Should be a fun ending. Gilmore, Quint Kesnick, I'm Mark Kestisher. We got a ball game. We had an onside kick last time. What are you thinking here?
Well, same lineup. I'd kick it right at the same guy or pooch it to about the 30-yard line and see if I can outrun him for it.
It's like Winfield's in the middle now, but they are kicking it deep.
Trust in the defense.
Yep. Minnesota's going to try to bleed some clock. Rodney Smith has nowhere to go.
That was a huge first down play, a negative play, and Purdue is sitting on their timeouts as well. You can hold one here and see what happens second down and then manage the clock. If you're Minnesota, are you ready to put the ball in the air?
It's what's gotten them to 38 points. But with a 7-point lead, Purdue has all 3 of its timeouts. Clock running, 3:25 to go.
It's been the run-pass option, the slant that's worked for them.
Pass, and Johnson makes the catch. Nice dive on the sideline.
And inbounds. Clock continues to run. That's a good catch. Anytime the receiver's hands are underneath the ball, that's going to be a catch, even if the ball touches the ground.
All right, can the Purdue defense stand here? 3rd and 6 Gophers. Looking for Johnson, his best receiver, and he can't get it, but a flag comes in after the play.
Well, that flag might get picked up.
No, he grabbed him, Rod.
I know. The 2 officials who went to talk about it, Q, were in different positions.
I thought I saw the defensive back grab the right shoulder, and you could see the jersey.
Yep.
Defense headed 38. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Q, that one out. 2 officials saw 2 different things. That's why they had the conference, and a good job of them coming together and talking it through. Left hand up high, grabbing the shoulder. Yep, absolutely. Good call, Q.
The official had said 38, but clearly that was number 29, Simeon Smiley, the nickelback. Jeff Brown is hot, the head coach of Purdue on the field. So the penalty means first down and up to the 45. And with 3 minutes to go, Rodney Smith elusive before finally getting taken down.
Rod, that's a pass interference call that's going to be called 10 times out of 10.
Q, you get no argument from me. When you use your hand up high around the shoulder pad, it's visible and you will get flagged. And when you pull jersey with it, it's an easier call.
A penalty first down, able to force Purdue to use another timeout. They can only stop the clock once more. Yeah, 2nd and 2. The Gophers less than 3 yards per rush. Rodney Smith going to get the first down. And now the clock moves.
When they needed that first down, where did they go? They went to the right side where they've got the big 400-pounder Fa'alele and also the big guard Dunlap, who's 350.
Jake Paulson, the tight end, at 270 in there as well. A lot of beef on that right end.
Going up against 260-pound defensive ends and linebackers. That's a lot of weight you're giving.
2 huge conversions for Minnesota. 3 on the play clock here as they take every precious second away from Purdue, and Smith continuing his fine afternoon back from injury down to the Purdue 41.
And
30-second charge timeout to Purdue. Their 3rd and final timeout.
Minnesota has gone extra heavy with their offensive line.
Their 4th straight 3-0 start, trying to get it to 4-0. One more first down, and it'll be ball game. 2nd and 6. Barber pushing. Still pushing, and that should do it. Out across to the 32-yard line with 1:37 to go. What a job by Minnesota up front just trying to bleed clock here after their aerial attack.
It's just that right side of the line, powering, punishing, just pushing that smaller defensive line back enough to get the first down. 5 guys, most of them well north of 300 pounds.
It's not till you're on field level where you get a good feel for just how giant these men are. As Tanner Morgan's going to take a knee, and Tanner Morgan's going to go to 8-2 as a starting quarterback for PJ Fleck's Golden Gophers.
The guy, when he took over in high school as a quarterback, his high school team was 1-11.
That's right.
Finished up with them being, what, 13-1?
13-1. And as you said, was going to go to Western Michigan with Fleck. And then when PJ took the job at Minnesota, sight unseen.
Yep.
Tanner Morgan went with him.
Well, and PJ Fleck absolutely believes in him, trusts him, and it's a mutual thing.
Here's the final knee down. Minnesota got out to a 3-touchdown lead. A valiant effort with some really big injuries today for Purdue. Handshake for Fleck and for Jeff Brom. And the Golden Gophers of Minnesota are going to 4-0 to start the season as they knock off Purdue 38-31. Drop the Boilermakers to 1-3.